Hello, everyone. I'm Elyon Lynn, and I've decided to do a few YouTube installments, I guess we'll say. I've been guided to do so after a tremendous experience I had, an encounter with a spirit, a ghost, an alien, whatever you want to call it, that lasted 3 years. It ended here recently, and I'm prompted by the source to write a book. Not so much about, certainly not about me and my personal life or anything like that, and not even so much about the encounter, but about the knowledge, the universal truths that I was forced to wrestle with as a result. Things such as reincarnation, parallel lives, and the undoubted, actually highly doubted fact that, yes, there are many other worlds and sentient beings of every type out there. And I had to wrestle with all of these themes as they were applied to my life with the encounter that I had. Mine's a little bit different, and that's part of the reason why, through my spiritual studies and meditation, I was prompted by my guides. I definitely have more than one, and I believe by God himself that it should be written down, because when these themes entered my life, and I went looking for anyone out there who could hopefully help me hang on to the last shred of sanity, I couldn't find much. The deeper I looked into things, the less I found. So I think it's important for anyone who is having experiences, which many people in this world are, it's important to get it out there, to not be afraid. But you have to be willing to let your ego go. This isn't about becoming a celebrity and being on the cover of a newspaper or a magazine. The book I write will certainly not be for profit. It will probably take me a whole year, and if I made $20, it would be a miracle. And certainly I will keep everyone posted with these YouTube installments as a precursor to the book. I'll keep you guys posted as to, if you want a copy of the book, I'll make a PDF available to you, or I'll mail you a copy. It's just information that they would like present for people to find when they search. So no, it definitely won't be for profit, and it will be made available to anyone who desires. So I did make a couple of notes, because, like I say, the video segments that I'm going to do aren't going to be about, what happened to me and the details. That's in the book if you'd like to read it. But the information, the truth, the undying love of the source, of the other side, that was shown to me, is what I want to share with you now. Right now, not waiting for a book. So it was funny this morning. I just got up and went and sat outside and fed all the birdies, and the information just started flowing, and my guide was like, yeah, go put some makeup on. Go do your hair a little bit, because you're gonna start making these videos today. Might not post them today, but you're gonna start making them. So This video is about forgiveness for the most heinous of acts and crimes, whether you committed them yourself or an act was perpetrated against you, or perhaps someone you love committed a heinous act. Maybe they're in prison, maybe they're not. And to find peace and solace within that. So you'll notice here in the video I have disabled comments. And that is because it is surprising the amount of hostility that is raised when you start to speak about topics like forgiveness and love. When you really get into it, you will find the hostility. Anyone who has ever logged onto the internet has found hostility, absolute verbal violence when it comes to these matters, which will show the amount of healing that this world needs, is really begging for. So I have, however, put my email address in the remarks, gratitudeforjupiter@gmail.com. And if there's anything I could do to help you, my encounter did open me up as a spiritual medium. And if there's anything that I can do to help any of you, or if you just want to talk about anything that I bring up, please feel free to send me an email. I never, just so you know, like there's never going to be any money exchange between me and another human being. Like I say, any small cost on the book is just to cover the cost of publishing. I'm not in it to make any money. So don't think that. If you contacted me and said, hey, can you help me? Then I'd say, sure, for $100. I won't do that. As time permits, I have a pretty debilitating chronic illness. And I've been suffering with it quite badly. Because there's an element of needing to recover also just from having spirit energy and so much contact with the other worlds for the last 3 years. There's a lot to process. Physically, I'm drained. My chronic illness has been kicked up. So the makeup hides that quite nicely. I don't look too tired, right? So yeah, I just wanted to explain why comments have been disabled. So where shall we begin? Okay, so speaking on a matter such as forgiveness, it's a finite concept, right? It's a word, it's a thing, it's a behavior, it's an act. It's a finite thing. But because it starts to break down the entire human condition, you'll find that within that concept are infinite truths and infinite possibilities. And it's affecting you as much inwardly as certainly outwardly, how you treat others, how you simply view the world. So the forgiveness is not just for others, but inwardly towards yourself as well. I know that before I began to do the work to awaken, had held myself to a standard that I don't even know where it came from. I mean, who came up with this, right? And I engaged in a version of self-pity, which is self-hatred. A lot of people don't understand the correlation between those terms. They think that self-pity means like, oh, I'm such a victim, and oh, everyone's so awful, and that's not exactly it. If you're engaged in self-judgment and self-hatred and not forgiving yourself, that is self-pity. And it boils down to the simplest notion that God just doesn't want you to do that. He doesn't want you to do that anymore. You don't have to. You don't have to. There's, in certain people's eyes, there will never be enough that you could do to repay a wrong that you had done to them. And it could be, that you split the cost of lunch and you made them leave the tip and you didn't leave any. It could be a small thing like that. And someone could judge you until the day you die. You could judge yourself for doing something like that and put yourself in hell over something like that. Or we could be talking about themes as big as someone murdered my child. Someone engaged in pedophilia with me when I was a child. I'm not saying that those are themes that I've dealt with, but I'm saying forgiveness, it's not called anything different depending on the level. It's all just the same. So my comments and what I came to learn covers all of that. The first thing that I've noticed gives some people a lot of comfort and other people a lot of, what? No, absolutely not true. It offers a variety of responses, is when you let someone know that we all agreed to our own personal obstacles in this life, what we would encounter, what we would engage in before we got here. And we did that with the source, with God. So God is never going to damn anyone to hell for anything that they've done in life. He already knew. I say he just because it's what I grew up with. He, she, it, they, however you want to call it. We chose these things before we got here. What we would encounter, what we would do ourselves. There's only one being that can send you to hell, and that is you. Hell is a concept that has been really misinterpreted. It is a place. It is. It's the lower levels of the fourth dimension. Here we are here in the physical world in the third dimension. And the lower levels of the fourth dimension is what someone would describe as hell. There's no, demon and fire and all that stuff. It's not like that. Oh, sorry. That was my phone. It's a distorted realm. And we put shreds of ourselves there. And I know this because I did it to myself. I'm a recovering addict, clean and sober for a very long time now. I went into a program of recovery 10 years ago. I wouldn't say anything I did was heinous, but there were definitely things that I did that I was not proud of. And I engaged in the rhetoric and behavior of self-hatred. And through years of working through my own egoic mind and saying, who are you? Why do you get to judge everyone? And got free of this and let the awareness of soul start to have a say. I was actually given the ability. We all have the ability. It's just that we have to find out that we have the ability. People ask me, how do you astrally travel? You tell me, because you do it too. You do it all the time. We all do it. So it's not that anyone gets it's just I was brought to the awareness that, hey, you astrally travel, and guess where we're going tonight when you go to sleep? And I started visiting this fourth dimension, which I was not a big fan of. Now, the higher levels of the fourth dimension are good, but it was not what I would call hell, but it was dark and there was a lot of repetition and seeing people who were in pain over their own stuff. Like, why the hell do I keep going to this damn place? What is going on? And my guides were telling me, keep looking while you're down there. You're going to keep going back every night when you go to sleep. Just keep looking. And then I found shreds of myself that I was able to reclaim, harvest, and forgive, and become whole. So yeah, God doesn't send you there. You send you there. And once you've sent a shred of yourself there, a piece of yourself there, no one can get it out except for you. You have to forgive you. You know, God's just sitting back on the sidelines going, oh, I wish he'd just love you. Come on. So that's a lot. It's a lot to swallow when you really let the awareness permeate. I've heard that saying. We've all heard the saying, free your mind. That's a futile statement. This can only go so far. A more fruitful piece of advice would be get free of your mind. We all have two doors, that we can go through whenever we want to perceive something. And the one door is to the egoic mind. And this thing is constantly having an opinion and a judgment and a frustration. And, oh my God, why is this line so long? What's wrong with this cashier? And look at this idiot over here. Like, this is constantly running the show, blah, 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 blah. It never shuts up. If you want real help with that, start watching some Eckhart Tolle YouTube videos. If you want to start there. I mean, read his books, but a lot of people do YouTube. So, yeah. So you've got that door, the door to the egoic mind, which is constantly wide open and all kinds of crap is falling out. And then you have the door to the awareness of your soul. And you got to walk through this door if you really want to further your understanding and your peace. And maybe walk away with a bigger byproduct of belief. Maybe you believe in a God. Maybe you don't. But you can't get there with this. So we picked this before we got here. Another thing to consider is that people who have engaged in, homicide, pedophilia, rape, grand theft, like big, it's not necessarily that they are of a lower spiritual evolution, a lower frequency, so they're here causing all this pain. That's not always the case. Sometimes they are of a higher spiritual calling, and they agreed to come here and take on the burden of a life's manifestation, such as this. And it's for growth for them and everyone around them. So their agreement is to come here and to perpetrate an act that causes the whole world to hate them and to be locked in a cell until they die, and to have every family member walk away, stop coming to visit, things like that. And it's for a higher purpose, not a lower one. So whenever the egoic mind steps in, you have to understand that it first wants to tell you that you're so much better. Oh, you're better than this one and that one and that one. They're going to hell. You're okay. But they're going to hell. And then the next minute it'll tell you, oh, but these people over here, see, they're better than me. I'm not as good as them. So, oh no. So the ego has no stability. It wants to put you up here and it wants to put you down here. It can never just fall in the ranks. So that's another freedom of doing the work in your ego. And how do you do the work in your ego? You got to read. You got to search. Go online. Watch little YouTube videos. I don't mean an 8-hour video. I mean a 20-minute video. Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, Alan Watts, Michael Beckwith. There's tons of them. And they'll start to help you to get a hold of your ego. And dismiss it. It never entirely goes away. Like I always say, if you have a pulse, you have an ego. So it constantly needs some addressing. But you got to look. A lot of people think, oh, I'll go to this church and I'll listen to this pastor, or, you know, I'll go over here and I'll listen to this person, or I'll get advice from this counselor, or I'll do this. At some point, somebody's going to say what I need them to say for me to forgive, to understand, to have peace, to believe, to have love. But that's not how it works. You know, if Jesus and Gandhi and Martin Luther King and, you know, all of these incredible people of high frequency and manifestations, you know, the saints, the angels, if none of them could do something to compel you, then what makes you think some counselor you're going to talk to can say something to you that's going to change your mind? You have to do the work in here. You have to do the work in here. I really didn't want this video to go so long. So let's see what else I got. I got a couple notes. Well, I already talked about everything. It took me twice as long to say it as I had planned. I wanted this to be like a 10-minute video, but... So, I think the good litmus test is, how bothered are you by what I just said? You know? If you're really bothered, then good. You know, it's good. You know, maybe after you watch this, just shut everything down for half an hour. You know, just sit quietly. What am I so afraid of? You know, that's what I had to do years ago. Why are you so afraid to forgive these people, whoever it may be? And then I realized, oh, first I have to start with me. I have to forgive me. And then we can work on other people. And believe me, even after I got done forgiving me for some things, there was still a whole list of people out there that I didn't forgive. Still plenty of work to do. A lot of times the ego will, you know, it wants repentance from these other people. It's fear-based. You know, it's your ego saying, you know, I didn't get enough. I didn't get enough from you. You did this horrible thing to me, and then all you said was sorry and walked away, and that's not enough. You know, that's the egoic mind. So, yeah, I know this was just sort of off the cuff, and I made a few notes and tried to make myself look somewhat presentable. So I'll do a few of these. Definitely email me if you'd like to talk. I'm not making these videos because I have all the answers. You know, I'm making these videos because I have as many questions as you do. But I know it doesn't start out there. You know, a lot of times I think I want to fix the world and I gotta do something about this United States presidency. It's going to hell, or this or that, or what is North Korea doing? And oh my God, we gotta feed the homeless, and we gotta, you know, like I think it's all out there, and then I am reminded, you know, live it, you know, learn to live the forgiveness and the understanding, the compassion for other people, and then it starts to flow outward. But you gotta do you first. And that's all you really have to do. You know, one of the big things that was said to me is, yes, we don't live just one life. No. Reincarnation, yeah, that's a thing. That's a real thing. But you only get to live, no, you only get to spend one life at a time. So if you can cultivate that peace and the compassion and understanding within you, you've already won. You've already met God's objective for you because He wants you to love yourself and to be okay in here. And then start to learn the language of expressing that love and forgiveness and compassion out to others. So if you want to change the world, like Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see in the world. And man, he was right. So yeah, this is the first of a few segments that I'll do, and I get to know some of you, and definitely email me. I don't have a life. I live a pretty spiritually reclusive life. I'm not really engaged in society too much, except for um, my attempts at being of service to others. So yeah, I don't have a life. Um, so I've got lots of free time to share with you if there's anything I can do for you. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.